711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Good morning. Welcome to the Handicappers Report on this Saturday morning, January 30th. Hard to believe, but we're already virtually through January, but still some nice early season racing, as it were, and we'll talk about that at Gulfstream with the Holy Bull today, and out in Southern California, the Bob Lewis on the Derby Trail as well. So we'll hit on those as the morning progresses, and we're going to start things out here this morning. A little Gulfstream and a little Aqueduct here on the Handicappers Report. Seth Merrow in the studio, and live from New Orleans, Brian Nadeau. Brian, good morning.
Hey, Seth, good to hear from you. Good morning. Happy hello to everybody back home. And yeah, as you kind of hinted at, we got a couple big Derby preps today. Holy Bull, the Bob Lewis came up really strong with Bob Baffert and Doug O'Neill having half of the 8 entered. And yeah, starting down that path already, Seth, to the first Saturday in May. And
as I say, you and I are going to be talking a little Gulfstream and a little Aqueduct, living vicariously up here. As I got in my car this morning, the dashboard thermometer read -degrees, so that's not nice, but we will live vicariously with a little Florida racing this afternoon. I was looking, you're down in New Orleans at Fairgrounds. I saw today's forecast down there, about 70, but I laughed yesterday. Brian was in the studio, and I laughed when you said it. We were watching the paddock commentary. What was it? It looks comfortable. It looks like forecast is comfortable for today, but what was yesterday? Because Joe Christofek turned to you and said, I guess we would call this weather today invigorating. And you said, yeah, that's not what I'm calling it.
So Thursday was, it was about 52, I think. Yesterday was 55, but where that set is situated, it's right on the corner of the back of the grandstand, and it's just open, so you don't get any blockage from the wind. So if the wind is whipping a little bit, it turns 55 into about 45, and it's a definitely different than like if you move down the grandstand and there's a bay there, but it's secluded from the wind. So it's a big temperature change. So on days like that, we'll obviously we're outside on TV, but after that, usually we set up shop kind of on the 3rd floor inside to do any work that we might have throughout the day.
Yeah, as I say, I got a little laugh out of that because, man, it didn't take you long on the move down to Florida to become a Florida regular and have your blood thin out.
I have tapped out, Seth. I'm not you. Listen, everybody, you can make fun of me all you want. You're 100% right. I have officially tapped out. I typically go to Denver for Christmas every year, and I moan and complain. And if I get back to Saratoga too early and it's 61 or something like that, you are 100% right. I can't, and anybody is allowed to bust my chops on that because I have to admit I have turned into one big baby in that regard. There's no doubt about it. And that thinning blood is real. It is 100% real. There's no doubt.
I remember going down. My father was retired and would spend the winter down a little south of the Tampa area, and I would go down and visit for a couple weeks and be on the beach. And yeah, it'd be like a 65-degree day. I'd be in my bathing suit. The Florida residents would walk by in parkas. So it's a different mentality once you get down there.
All bundled up like that, and but it's the truth. That's how it works. So yeah, about 70 degrees today. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, we'll have that on the network this afternoon as well down at the fairgrounds. But you're going to take a look at Gulfstream today, probably a little warmer down in the Miami area, hopefully. And again, a nice stakes card on the agenda for this afternoon that will be highlighted by a step on the Derby Trail, the Holy Bull. Let's jump in. Opener today at Gulfstream. Conditional claimers going 5 furlongs on the grass. Your thoughts on race number 1?
We'll zip through these early races pretty quickly because, as you alluded to, there's a lot of graded stakes, and the big ones are certainly at the end. I go 11 to 1-sheet selections, too, and I'll have the updates as well. 11, 5, 4, 6, 10. It's a deep and competitive opener. Kobe 52, a little wide. I don't love that, but I thought the run last time when second was very sharp, drops in class. The 3rd-place finisher came back to win. Should be fair value here, and it's just a tough race to kick off the sequence. Star Weaver is a major player. for Mike Maker off the claim, but really doesn't have any advantage over any of these and steps up in class 2, will be an underlay. No bang, no boom for Wesley Ward is a player as well. And I just think, Seth, there's a lot of different ways to go. Sovereign Warrior, it's 11-5, 4, 3-10. Sovereign Warrior is off the pace and should get some heat up front to close into, and then back outside a little bit. Wickster's Dream can press and chase early, but I think it's a spread race to start out this sequence.
Yeah, I agree. Tough way to start the pick 5, but if you get through it, you should have a little value regardless of the direction you go. Race number 2 at Gulfstream this afternoon. We'll kick off the early pick 4. It's a B condition claimer, 3/4 of a mile.
3-6 over the 8. Life in Shambles from an up-close attack post. Moving forward on figures. I think there's some speed in here. And, Mo Hawk is 2-1 on the morning line and conceivably the horse to beat on the class drop. But those runs of late have been on the turf. Now he's going 2 turns as well. Now he cuts back and sprints on the dirt. And sure, the last time he was on the dirt was in the Peter Pan against just tons better. But they're throwing a lot at him today, and he's going to be over bet. So I put him underneath. And then for third, number 8 on the outside, Benefactor. Tactical speed with Luis Saez has run well twice off the Marcel Navarro claim since taken from Terry Pompey 3 back, and would be no surprise. 9-2 would be a very, very square price, Seth. But I will call race 2, early pick 4 time, 3-6 over the 8.
Yeah, and the 3, Life in Shambles, just a fun story as well. 10 years old and verging on $1 million, $920,000 in the bank. But we certainly remember that one up here in New York. He's been a runner on the NYRA circuit throughout those 10 years, certainly. All right, let's move on to race number 3, maiden special, 3-year-olds going a quick 5 on the grass.
Yeah, it is a quick 5, and so my top pick could be a little up against it, but I'm going to call this 4-3-6-8-1. Jack Sisterson's brought a select group down to South Florida, and he's done very, very well. He's already won a turf stakes at the meet. And Golden Spoke, these Mishawish horses, Mishawish, he was a long distance runner back in the day when he came to America for Todd Pletcher. But he's seemingly been a little precocious with his initial crop. And Golden Spoke with Tyler Gaffalione named. I think there's some intent here. Jack is just 1 for 23 with first-time starters. But this is a barn. I had him on Saturdays at the Spa. He's done a very good job with these Calumet Farm horses. And I think Golden Spoke is live in here off a slew of very, very strong works. Mubtada for Todd and Shadwell. Luis Saez is here, another with plenty of works that are solid. But, it's a by Warfront out of a Tappet mare. It's a big pedigree here, Seth. But, I just wonder a little farther for this one here. And the Shadwell runners aren't as precocious as maybe some of the other horses for a guy like Todd, for a guy like Chad. So let's watch this one. Dr. Duke has got dirt speed, now tries the turf. Hillbilly Logic I don't know if he's good enough on the class scale, Seth, but it is Wesley Ward and Jose Ortiz. And then down inside, Wara for Cassie and Irad, 5-2 morning line, was heavily bet at Woodbine on debut in August, hasn't been seen since, has to work out a trip from the rail. 4-3-6-8-1, a tough race 3.
Obviously for OTB Live this afternoon, I also took a look at Gulfstream. And I put Golden Spoke on top, too. Mishawish last year, 33 first-time starters, 7 wins, 3 seconds, 3 thirds. So 13 in the money, 10 exactas out of 33 first-time starters. So I thought there was a little bit of breeding there. And then, yeah, the Pletcher at Gulfstream run underneath. But I'm with you. I wasn't sure about the breeding for this one to come out and pop at this 5 furlongs in the debut. But you talked about Jack Sisterson. To me, he's like one big horse away from being kind of like the next Brad Cox, maybe, or somebody like that. It was fun to see him on with you this summer, and again, I think he's on the he's one of those up and comers that we have to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, I agree. And he won the Cigar Mile, excuse me, with True Timber. He's done a great job with that horse. We're going to talk about his stakes winner later on this Gulfstream car that already won a stakes on the meet. And yeah, he's done a great job with these Calumet Farm horses, and they still dole out a lot of horses to other trainers, but he's their predominant trainer, and you never meet a nicer guy too, Seth. So I'm very, very happy. Everybody you ask about Jack Sisterson, talk to about Jack Sisterson, says he's too nice of a guy, and he came on the show, and that's how he was. So really happy to see the success he's having.
Move on to stakes action in race number 4 this afternoon, the Kitten's Joy in that subdivision I talk about quite a bit, 3-year-olds on the turf, and one of the reasons I like it, I said on the stakes preview this week, I like it because there are nice 3-year-old turf stakes all year long at virtually all the venues. A lot of them are big money and important. And I think this field has 2 or 3 that may come out of this and play in some of those races later this year.
Yeah, this is your group, Seth. There's no doubt about it. I know how highly you like to play these races in your group. I'll tell you what, right now this group has a really, really nice prospect, and never surprised. Well, could be 2 to 5 in here. I mean, 9 to 5 on the morning line is ridiculous. Undefeated for Todd Pletcher. And Seth, when you're running, just love or hate buyers, whatever, but when you're running an 89 and a 90 in November of your 2-year-old year on the turf, those are freakish numbers. And never surprised, aired twice at Aqueduct, 6 over the 2.7, by the way. And he doesn't have to be on the lead. Yes, he wired the Central Park last time at Aqueduct, but he settled in his debut. He is a really nice prospect, and he's by constitution with Tis Now on the bottom of his pedigree. And as you know, Seth, and as all our viewers today know, if you have a nice 3-year-old, you have to try him on dirt at some point. And I'm sure Todd has in the back of his mind that at some point this Gulfstream meet or somewhere down the line in this early season 3-year-old prep season, if Never Surprise keeps winning, he will get his chance on the main track. But today on the turf, he lays over this field. Like I said, he could be 1 to 5. He'll be a single in any kind of budget players, early pick 5 and 4. And boy, he looks like a very, very top quality prospect, another one of these constitutions that is a runner. I tried to split up the Chalky Exacta and get Kentucky Pharaoh. That's the Jack Sisterson horse I mentioned. I tried to get him out of the mix, and I put It's a Gamble underneath, and he was well behind Kentucky Pharaoh last time, but he fits the profile. And if Kentucky Pharaoh gets zapped on the lead by Never Surprise, maybe It's a Gamble can pass him and break up the Chalky Exacta. That's why I put him underneath. I put Kentucky Pharaoh in third. Jack's done a great job since this horse has gotten to the turf. He's a completely new horse. He's won both of his starts. He won the Dania Beach at Gulfstream last time, but he's done it both on the lead. And whether he'll probably make the front here too, but when you've got a horse like Never Surprise pressing you, it doesn't bode well for your chances in the lane. So I tried to get him out of second, 6 over the 2.7. Very excited to see Never Surprise come back as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, I agree totally. The 5th race at Gulfstream this afternoon. Click on the light, walk down the steps. We're in the basement as far as the claiming level, 6,250 open claimers going 6.5.
Yeah, this is the play of the day. 2 over the 5.7. Man of Vision. He's still lightly raced. He's 2 for 3 at Gulfstream. He comes in off a 3L win. And yes, he's stepping up in class, and he's facing some grizzled veterans. He's basically already as fast as them, if not faster anyway. And these grizzled veterans are pretty long in the tooth. And I think Man of Vision still moving forward, moving upwards. The big number last time, the easy win last time. It's just where he's supposed to be, and he looks better than this group. I put him as my play of the day. Mozo Bello in second for Mike Maker. The drop in class is a little scary. There's no doubt he's been facing tons better. If he's still keeping it together, he's a major player. I'm just going to play against him. with I'm not quite sure where his form is, and Mike hasn't been able to get anything out of this one, and 2 starts off the claim. Weister, the 7, might get loose in here. If that's the case, he could get brave in here. He won at the level last time, pressing, dueling, then pulling clear, but it was with a relatively slow number, and I'm wondering if he can run back to it, because it was by far, and that was first-time Zerpa, and we know what he can do. But I'm just going to play against the repeat, because frankly, that run wasn't that fast to begin with. Play of the day, number 2, Man of Vision, 2 over the 5-7.
All right, let's wind it up before the break at the halfway point with race number 6. That is the Swale. It's a nice 3-year-old stakes card today down at Gulfstream. It'll be highlighted by the Holy Bull, which is a step along the Derby Trail. This potentially could be, but this is aimed a little more at the sprint side of the game, with the Grade 3 runners going 7 furlongs.
1 over the 6-5. No pun intended, but I like Likeable quite a bit in here. They totally threw him to the Wolves in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and predictably at a huge number, he didn't do any running at all. But you look at the 1-turn maiden win at Belmont, it was really, really good. He did it on the lead. He will not be on the lead here, and that's what I like about him. That's why I like him so much. He's going to let Poppy's Pride drain the clock, and probably even by George, go early. He will settle just off of them. And if that run didn't throw him for a loop last time, and sometimes that can do it to horses, and I worry about that a little bit, but the work certain Whisper Ready, it's Todd, it's Luis Saez. I love this trip he's going to pull today. And I think Likeable is in a good spot to kick off what was Connections Hope, is a pretty big 3-year-old campaign. By George, 1 at Aqueduct on debut. He set a very slow pace and drew off late. He'll have to run faster today, but he's outside the other speed with IRAD. The big number on debut. He's a major player in here. And then Drain the Clock, I like over Poppy's Pride, simply because he's outside of him. Poppy's Pride has won 4 in a row with ease on the lead, but Drain the Clock is going to be pressed to him the entire way, and I think he'll win the battle, lose the war angle with those 2. 1 over the 6-5. I'm excited to see the return of Likeable today in the Swale.
All right, let's head to a break. When we come back, we'll complete our look at Gulfstream, and a little bit later on, Aqueduct in the mix. Stay tuned.
Horses racing, people betting. It's been going on since before the Roman Empire. And the fastest horse is still the one that wins. Where there's gambling, there's cheating. That hasn't changed either. What has changed are the tools used to combat doping and cheaters. Today, professional horse racing operates under an aggressive anti-doping program, testing labs on par with the Olympics, and standards tougher than human sport. For 85 years, the Association of Racing Commissioners International has fought for safe horses and honest sport. ARCI standards form the basis for the rules of racing. Today, they call for a new expanded program to protect all horses, young and old. To join with them or learn more, visit arci.com.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Seth Merrow, Brian Addo, taking a look right now at Gulfstream. Brian is a little bit later on Aqueduct. But Brian, I didn't ask you at the top of the show a couple nights ago, the Eclipse Awards. I wondered how they were going to do it virtually. And from watching it, I think it was all pre-taped, and it was a little flat. But given the situation, I'm just handicapping the production now as a former television company owner myself. But as I say, given the situation, they did a good job. But getting to what it attempted to do and handing out the Eclipse Awards, any surprises? Pretty much to me, all the categories going in were kind of slam dunks. The three I was interested in, the two turf categories and the sprint category, but even those obviously weren't shockers. I just thought those had a little bit of leeway in them. But did you find anything interesting or surprising?
I was surprised that Brad Cox won the Eclipse Award, Seth. And I think, elephant in the room, whatever, I just think a lot of people didn't want to vote for Bob Baffert. I didn't want to vote for Bob Baffert. I'll be completely upfront and very candid about that. But even if you took out the positives of Gamine, I found it very hard not to vote for Bob Baffert. So I did.
I did too.
Brad had I was shocked. And I think Seth...
for me, it was tough, though, because I thought Brad, with Monomoy Girl and with the great Breeders' Cup weekend, he was right there for me. So it was tough. But I looked at, for me, Bob Baffert, Kentucky Derby, Breeders' Cup Classic. You knew he was going to wind up with the Horse of the Year, and you knew Gamine was probably going to get an Eclipse, too. Well, and he had the highest total of grade ones during the year among all the trainers. So,
well, not only that, Seth, but the one you left out is improbable, was Champion Older Dirt Horse. Yeah. The body of work, and listen, I get all of it, and I am a critic as well. And like I said, I didn't want to vote for him, but I just felt, even if you remove Gamine from the scenario, the body of work was just ridiculous. I said this to someone, and he didn't know this. Listen, Brad won 4 races on Breeders' Cup Day. Brad is as good as there is. He's going to win many more Eclipse Awards. I don't know if people realize this. He won 4 other grade ones all year long. That's it. He did train 2 champions. So I voted him second. I have zero problem with anybody that voted for him. Like you said, he was a worthy winner. I just thought the body of work that Bob Baffert threw down, even if you take out the Gamine situation, was overwhelming. And like I said, I didn't want to vote for him, and then I looked at it on paper and I said, oh man, I have to vote for him. So I think a lot of people, like I said, Seth, I did not do any investigative reporting, but I think he only got like 69 votes, I believe.
Yeah, I've got the total right here. I was going to say Brad Cox 106, Bob Baffert 69, Asmussen 44, Chad Brown 8. And those, we should explain, those are first place votes. That's all that counts. As a voter, you have to put a top pick, a second pick, and a third pick. That just allows them to figure out the finalists.
Which is...
Yeah, it's a funny.
Silly.
But why they do it is the 3-year-old category. That's why they do it. Because in the 3-year-old category, only Authentic and Tis the Law got first place votes. So they have to come up with some way to get the 3 finalists. That's how they do it. It's a little bit of a funny situation. But yeah, Brad Cox 106, Baffert 69. I was a little bit surprised there was that much of a divergence.
I agree with that.
But I think it's exactly what you said, and I was in exactly the same spot you were. Had exactly the same hesitation, but eventually I went with Baffert.
Yeah, and I think conversely, Seth, people either left Baffert off the ballot, or they said, "Listen, I'm not voting for this guy. I'll vote for Brad." Yeah. So there you go. But listen, he could not be a more deserving winner. He trained 2 champions, 2-year-old, an older. The job he did with Monomoy Girl, out of this world. So, and he's a great ambassador for our sport. So listen, many congrats to Brad, and if you and I are fortunate enough to do this for years to come, we'll be congratulating him many times again.
Yeah, and he's been on with both of us a number of times. Always a great guest as well. And speaking of Brad, and I don't think I've mentioned it at all because it was Sunday afternoon. It may have been after I left or not. But did you see Hidden Scroll? Is Hidden Scroll going to be his next Knicks go?
Yeah, it's quite possible. He only ran a 90, I guess. So how about he wasn't even favored on the morning line? That's another show we'll talk about. But yeah, he looked good. Who knows? I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, folks didn't see Hidden Scroll came back in Brad Cox care now and won at Oaklawn the other day, and just an allowance event. But we'll see what the future is for him now. All right, let's move on at Gulfstream again on a really nice stakes afternoon. We've already talked about a couple of stakes, but we will continue. Race number 7 is not a stake; it's a maiden special weight event for 3-year-olds going 8.5 furlongs on the grass.
Yeah, Rainbow 6 time here as well. 10-1, 2-9-8. It's a scramble. Chad does not have a lot of horses in South Florida. He typically kind of uses his time off a little bit. Or it looks like he might have some new owners, Seth, as well. I do not know Phil and Christine Hatfield, but they paid $500,000 for a son of Flatter, and that's pretty good. And there's a lot of works here. Tyler Gaffleone rides for Chad periodically, so that works out well too. And it's just a real scramble for me. I put him on top, down inside, Seizing the Dream. Boy, this horse ran big for Barkley on debut at Saratoga with a big number back then from bad post. Gets a good post today. Adds Lasix as well. The 22-1 is gone, but you'll still get a hint of value. Action Jackson next door for Safi, adding Lasix off a decent enough third at Aqueduct. A little wider avenue for Pletcher and Big Game Bob LaPenta and Luis Saez, and Fly Like an Eagle for Barkley and Jose with big works like Barkley typically does. But this one's kind of weird. They $12,000 for a son of Constitution. That's a little mixed signals, but it's a tough race, Seth, if you're playing the Rainbow. 10-1, 2-9-8. I would say definitely tab the tote board here to see if it gives you any clues.
Yeah, fun race. You would have to think there's the possibility one or two could come out of here. That'll be nice as the year progresses. 8th race at Gulfstream this afternoon. A starter allowance at the 20,000 level. A mile on the grass.
Late pick 5 time as well, and it's a good sequence. I'm going to take a shot with Seize the Hay. 5-2 over the 3-7. He's never run good enough to beat this field, but he just broke through last time for the maiden win in his 7th career start. And as you and I have talked about many times, sometimes a light bulb goes on. We like that angle. It's Todd. Zayas sticks aboard. You're going to get a nice price. And if nothing else, Seize the Hay. Todd runs him back in a spot where he can't be claimed. And he's getting better against a group that, you know, they've all plateaued. Now, a horse like Light Fury and Tune In, who I have in 2nd and 3rd, they're way faster than Seize the Hay. They're way more likely winners. But they're also not getting any better, I don't think. And I think they're more eligible to regress off their big last wins as opposed to move forward, where I think Seize the Hay can bridge the gap. And that's why I put him on top. Those two go underneath. And then Mr. Tip, second off, the Frank Russo claim drops in class. Jose Ortiz says, I'll ride again. That's positive. And you'll get a decent price, too. 5-2, 3-7, late pick 5 time at Gulfstream.
Race number 9 kicks back in with the stakes action, this time on the girls' side of the 3-year-old game. The Forward Gal is a grade 3 event. 7 furlongs is the trip.
7 over the 3-6. And, you know, Zagel looked awesome winning on debut for Todd. Didn't run overly fast. Did it the right way. There's not a lot in here, and this post is perfect. Didn't need the lead on debut. I love to see a lightly raced horse run like that in their first start, and she looks like she has a very, very bright future for Todd and Shadwell. Inside a little bit, competitive speed is moving forward for Javier Gonzalez. You know, this is kind of an outsider a little bit, but won the Glitter Woman from off the pace a little bit. Will be priced underneath. Lady Traveler for Dale Roman's been having a rough meet at Gulfstream, so I'm apt to play against this one. He's probably prepping for longer, either the Devona Dale or Gulfstream Park Oaks. Let's call this 7 over the 3-6. This is your single if you need one in the late pick 5 and to kick off the late pick 4.
You kind of alluded to it, competitive speed, and when I talked on the Handicappers report, I put that one on top and said, you know, morning line of 8-1, maybe we'll get some value. But Andy Serling, I think it was, I was reading some tweets this morning, I think it was Andy, who kind of questioned the 8-1. And as you were talking, I looked at this race. That 8-1 seems like it's really generous. I mean, this is, you know, a horse coming off a 3-race win streak with a stakes win over the Trek. I'm not saying the horse is going to go off favored, but boy, that 8-1, I'm not sure we're going to get that.
Yeah, I mean, Seth, I beat it to death. It's just a very, very, very bad morning line at Gulfstream. It has been for years. This one I wasn't going to nitpick too much because, Zazel might be 3-5.
Yeah.
But we'll whack out the rest. But she does kind of look like the second choice to me. And I saw that tweet from Andy as well. And I buttoned it up a little bit on that regard. Like I said, I've beaten it to death. But, yes, it is what it is. I mean, we'll talk about it. Why? We'll get to it in a second. How is Prime Factor not favored over Greatest Honor in the Holy Bowl? But onward and upward.
And we will move onward with the Swedish chant, race number 10. This is 3-year-old fillies, this time on the grass side of things, going a mile.
5-2 over the 3. I like White Frost in here. You won't get 9-2 on her either. Not that bad of a morning line, but you're not going to see that. It has one of my angles, Seth. You don't do any running on dirt. You get to turf and you blow way up. Look at that win at Aqueduct for Bill Mott. Junior Alvarado rode her that day. He's here. She's lightly raced. The one turf race really sticks out like a sore thumb. She looks like a nice runner for Bill Mott. I put her on top. Honey Pants down inside for Clement and Irad. Has been well in a couple stakes races here at Gulfstream, once at Aqueduct. And then the 3, Candace O. I think there's some speed in here, Seth. So I put her underneath of Kong Lima, who's, going to take a lot of money for Todd off the stakes wins. But I think Candace O has some upside. I liked that turf win last time for Graham and Jose Ortiz. So she looks like she's moving forward. That was a bad post that day, too. 5-2 over the 3, and I will mention Kong Lima as well. But I like White Frost in here. I think very, very exciting prospect.
Wrapping up the stakes action, race 11 on a 12-race card. But again, we wrap up the stakes with the highlight, the exclamation point, a step on the Derby Trail, a Florida step on the Derby Trail in the Holy Bull Grade 3 event. A couple $100,000 up for grabs for the 3-year-olds going 8.5 furlongs.
Yeah, I know. We talked about it at the start, Seth, and the Lewis is a much better race today. It's just 6-7 to me. Prime Factor was awesome on debut. Who did he beat? You don't know. It's got to play itself out, but he did it with a big number. He did it for fun. He was well bet that day. They paid $900,000 for a Son of Elusive Quality. Yes, he goes from 6 to 8.5 furlongs. Don't forget, though, this is the short finish line today. And I think that's a big deal today in this Holy Bull. And, Seth, if by 3-1 you mean 7-5, then I agree with you on the morning. It's a terrible morning line. He's going to be bet off the board. He should be bet off the board. It's not a great race. He looks like a really, really nice prospect. And more importantly, just if you're only talking today, we're not talking moving forward. We're not talking Kentucky Derby. We're talking today on January 30th, going a short finish at Gulfstream Park. He has a huge advantage over Greatest Honor. I know Greatest Honor won over the track in distance last time, but he beat Maidens that day, and he got set up. And this is a different scenario, and he cannot be 7th on the backstretch behind Prime Factor and win. He just can't. Unless Prime Factor is not very good, unless Prime Factor can't see out 2 turns. I have no reason to think that's the case. So Greatest Honor, you want to tell me he's going to be better than Prime Factor going forward? I won't fight you on that at all. I think he's a really nice prospect for Shug. But today, on January 30th, going 8.5 with the short finish line at Gulfstream Park, he's in a bad spot. He can't be favored in this race. That's just not a good job. He's not going to be favored. Prime Factor will be a strong, heavy favorite in this race, and he should be. But Greatest Honor might be a better horse going forward. Today, I'm decidedly against him. Just 6-7, straight to the hoop. Todd's also got a mount who ran well, albeit in slow time. Papa 2 was the good second in the Macho Man last time. Awesome Jerry was 3rd in that race. But I think it's about the 2 recent maiden special weight winners, Seth.
All right, and let's move on and wrap up the afternoon at Gulfstream in race number 12. B-condition claimers, a mile on the grass.
It's just 4-3 over the 5 in the nightcap. Financial System, a little drop in class, has been running well for Kelly Green. I'll put him on top of Honey Won't. And then certainly Tusk, very scary on the steep class drop. What's left in the tank for Tusk? He comes out of a grade 3. I don't trust him. 4-3 over the 5.
All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, we will shift our attention to Aqueduct, Stay tuned.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Brian, Seth with you. Before the break, I got through 12 on a good Holy Bull card at Gulfstream. Seth will take you the rest of the way, a 9-pack at Aqueduct, kicking off at 12:20 Eastern. 3-year-old fillies maiden special weight, a flat 1-turn mile.
5, 2, 1, and 6 for me. I put teetotaler on top. Chad Brown, Peter Brandt, paid $500,000 for this horse. Clearly hasn't lived up to that in the first couple of starts with a badly beaten debut effort, and then a close-up second in the second career start. But boy, the buyers are not jumping off the page by any means. However, it is Chad Brown. They did pay a lot of money, did show market improvement in the second start. It wasn't, didn't jump off the page by any means. And now blinkers come off and Lasix goes on in the 3-year-old debut, and I'll look for this one to finally break through in the third career start against an otherwise weak field also. This horse is no world beater. The rest of the bunch isn't either. Epona's Dream in the second slot. Mark Henning trainee, debuted on the turf. Didn't run much that day, but did better than split the field, running 5th in a field of 12. Then moved over to the dirt last time and closed to be okay despite a little bit of trouble in there. So could be a player in with, again, a relatively weak bunch. And then Know It All Red in the third spot. Couple of 6-furlong sprints to start the career. Now moves into a new barn and stretches out to a mile. As opposed to the other two, this one is getting a little bit of a change up on that maybe provides a wake up and moves the horse forward. In a field like this, I can see looking for that kind of an angle. Who's doing something new? Who's trying something new? Who's the fresh face? And maybe it's Know It All Red in here. Again, as you may be deciphering from my tone, I do not jump into this race with a lot of confidence, but I have it 5, 2, 1, and 6.
My Uncle Mo out of the multiple Grade 1 winner, Artemis Agaterra. Not the type of horse you see in the New York bred ranks too often. B, not going according to plan when they paid $500,000. Needless to say, early pick 4 time in race 2. It's a 16K, 2L, 4 and up, that flat mile again.
Another relatively weak field in here. I went 5, 2, 7, and 3. King of American on top. Been knocking around this level over the past few starts and doing okay. Well, last time did okay. Ran second, a well-beaten second. The starts before that, number-wise, were right in the same ballpark, but they were finishing position a little less. So, again, I'm rolling the dice with a horse that you go down the PPs, and again, past that last start, it's not much. But you also look at the odds: 29 to 1, 70 to 1, 70 to 1, 42 to 1. Morning line, and they continue like that down the page. Morning line today, 9 to 2, and I'm taking this one on top. That kind of demonstrates the field. But I thought last time maybe indicated this horse is in some good form right now and is facing another, again, relatively weak field. Mr. Fidget, a little bit of life number-wise as compared to this bunch, but pretty similar in that, firing numbers that are okay, but has been in and around this company. and really not doing a whole lot. I'll use our friend Steve Bick and his DT Stables Kid Chocolate in the third spot. Just getting some class relief that may provide a little bit of a wake up. I wonder if Kid Chocolate isn't a little bit better on turf for the DT folks in Gary Siaka, but it's that time of year where you have to take your shots. And again, with the class relief, maybe that one gets a little bit of a wake up. It was hard to, again, second race in a row where it was hard to jump on anybody with much confidence, but I went 5, 2, 7, and 3.
All right, on to race 3. It's a 14K 3L for 4 and up, back at that 1 turn mile.
1, 5, 7, and 6. The 3, I left mandatory payout out, and I may regret that. I went back and forth on that one, but I wound up on Magnetron. Robitross runner hasn't been seen since mid-November, but fired a good effort that day in similar company. You go down the page, there's some back class and back numbers, but virtually all of those further down the page were up at the Finger Lakes. But again, moved down to Naira last time and ran okay. A little bit of a layup. We'll see if this one comes back holding that form that we saw last time. If so, Magnetron may be the one to beat. Titans Will steps out of some starter allowance races that had to be a little bit saltier. So I think the Orlando Noda runner is getting a little bit of class relief in here today that may be notable because certainly you go down the page, this is the smallest, the lowest price tag this horse has run for. Broke the maiden for a $25,000 tag, which maybe indicates this level is going to turn out to be more of a comfort zone, certainly than those starter allowance races. Mind the Coin in the third spot. Got to draw a line through the last race. That was back in the middle of November. It was a little bit of a dud. The races just before that were good enough, though. So like the top pick, if this horse comes back in form off a couple of months on the sideline, can be a contender in with this group. But as I say, I may regret leaving mandatory payout out of the mix. Down at the bottom of my mix, I have economic policy. They're both a little bit interesting in here too, but they had some knocks and some things to like, which is the case you can make for really the entire field in here. So another one where my confidence level is not particularly high, but I went 1, 5, 7, and 6.
Race 4 is the Grade 3 Toboggan, 4-year-olds and up, 7 furlongs on the main track. A tough field of 5. So.
Yeah, short field, but it's a competitive field. I went with Share the Ride on top. Went down to Laurel last time and just missed in the fire plug. Just prior to that, had won the fall high weight under 133 pounds here at Aqueduct. So a horse that seems to be in some very good form right now. I'll put him on top, but I think you can go in pretty much 3 different directions here with my top 3. And I think you're going to get the same level of talent. Pete's Play Call comes out of a win in the Gravesend, won an optional claimer just before that, both of those at Aqueduct for Rudy Rodriguez. And Stay on the Man finished behind Pete's Play Call last time and just behind Share the Ride 2 starts back. So I have him in the mix as well. Again, it's a short field. It's a fun field. I think you can feel equally as confident in pick plays and whatnot with my top 3. I went 3, 1, 4, and 5.
All right, one more before the break here. It's race 5, kicks off the late pick 5 as well. It's a state-bred 40K maiden claimer. The gal is 3-year-old filly, 6 furlongs.
I'm going to root for the second-time starter from our friend Roddy Valenti and Company, Shaker Shack. I have an 8, 6, 9, and 7. Shaker Shack by Roddy's Bustin' Stones. Bustin' Stones, pretty good with win early types, but the dam produced a couple of siblings that are notable. There's a full sibling called Bustin' Out. Third in debut, then second, then won a couple of starts. Overall, won 9 of 19. Another sibling called Oak Bluffs that was third, then fifth, then won in the third career start. Wound up to be a stakes winner, won 21 starts of 64. So again, I think there's a little bit of breeding top and bottom. Career debut wasn't much to write home about, but now drops in for a tag off a fairly long layoff and with the experience of having been on the racetrack under the belt. So I'll take a little pop with Shaker Shack. Second spot, Exotica, the Mike Maker, first-time starter by Leia Band. Maybe a little bit of breeding there that you can hang your hat on. And then the third slot, Gracefully Wild. Maiden special weight to maiden claimer. First couple of starts. Showed improvement, start 1 to start 2. They weren't, neither start was very much. But I think they were enough to think with the class relief in this particular field, maybe this horse gets a little bit of a wake up with that class move. In the 5th at Aqueduct, 8, 6, 9, and 7.
All right, it's going to bring us to our last break on the Handicappers Report. When we come back, Seth will get through the last 4 at Aqueduct. I'm going to sign off. Seth, always a pleasure to hear from you and to be on with you. Good luck today at Aqueduct and at Gulfstream, and everyone back home as well, and we'll catch up next weekend.
Same to you. You're heading over to Fairgrounds, so we will certainly on OTB Live this afternoon be looking for you and Joe K, John Dooley in the paddock and beyond this afternoon at the Fairgrounds. But we appreciate the input this morning on Gulfstream, and we wish you good luck as well. Brian, we'll catch up with you next week. We'll come back from the break. We will continue with Aqueduct. Stay tuned.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Having trouble finding us? It's actually quite simple. Whether online or on your TV, it's never been easier to watch and wager on championship horse racing with Capital OTB. Simply log on to capitalotbbet.com. There you can watch our morning shows, live stream races, and wager on our state-of-the-art wagering platform. You can also watch from the comfort of your home on Spectrum Cable Channel 1250 or Fios Channel 467, and win more with Capital OTB. Welcome back to the Handicapper Sports. Seth Merrow in the studio, completing our handicapping for this morning by taking a look at the last view from Aqueduct. 6th race today, 12-5 claimers going 7. I have it 7, 8, 3, and 5. Tail of Mist on top. 3 starts back third, 2 starts back third, last time second. So moving in the right direction. Class-wise takes maybe a half a step up. I don't think this is a real class move to be concerned about, though. Horse just seems to be in some decent form, particularly off the last one. So a tilt in that direction. Manifest Destiny. This one, on the other hand, I'm going to draw a line through the last race and hope we rebound back to some prior efforts. Was in a state-bred claimer for the 25 tag last time. Maybe that was a saltier bunch. Open 20, open 12-5. 2 and 3 starts back. That's where we are today essentially, and so I'm hoping for a rebound because the starts 2 and 3 back were what this horse needs today. And if we get to those, Manifest Destiny is a player. And in the 3rd slot, Gia D'Oro, Rudy Rodriguez trainee with a lot of early speed. Blinkers go off today, but I still expect that speed to be shown because there are blinkerless races on the page where the horse tends to show some speed. Gets a little more class relief in the 4th start off the claim, so we'll put that one in the mix as well. Race number 6 at Aqueduct, 7, 8, 3, and 5. Race number 7, $40,000 claimers going a mile. I have this one labeled as wide open, but I have it 7, 4, 2, and 5. Family Biz on top. Linda Rice trainee first off the claim, and they move up a step up the claiming ladder. I like the confident move. A little 3rd place finish last time. 4 starts back, a win with a big buyer. And in fact, from that start, 4 back, really 3 back. Boy, there are some good buyers on the page that have kind of gone in the wrong direction the last 2. But I don't think that's necessarily signaling anything. I just think that's the way those races played out, which means first off the claim, maybe we bounce back to those better numbers, which makes Family Biz very dangerous in here. Malibu Pro, another one. The last race is not what I'm looking at. I'm more drawing a line through that, which was run against better. At this level, 2 back just missed. In and around this level, 3 back was a win. So I think Malibu Pro is solid in here. And Limonite in the third spot. Mike Maker, trainee, who also was going against a little bit better last time in a first off the claim start. Claimed the horse 2 back for 50 out of a win. They come back for 40 today. I think they're getting back. This one, Limonite, getting back in with his friends, more in the comfort zone today, and should be a player in with this group. So in the 7th race at Aqueduct, 7, 4, 2, and 5. Race number 8, state bred optional claimer, non-winners of 2 other than 3/4 of a mile. The trip, I have it 1, 7, 3, and 4. I didn't quite know what to do with the number 5, Blind Willie McTell for Linda Rice. I left that one out, but on the class move, Blind Willie McTell could bounce back to a better effort. But I went Galani Bridge on top, Chad Brown, trainee that is very lightly raced, hasn't been seen since November, comes back as a newly turned 5-year-old with only 5 starts under the belt, but has shown some real flashes, and I think a little bit of a layoff and coming back here, and with this particular group, Galani Bridge can wind up the winner. Silly Key for Linda Rice off a near miss last time with a solid numbers compared to this bunch, which was the 3rd in a series of improving numbers. So I think Silly Key could certainly be primed for a good effort and a potential winning effort in here. Daneberry in the 3rd spot. Hasn't been seen in a long time, just about a year, but comes back for Charlie Baker. He's okay off a layoff like this. And if this horse comes back ready to run, I think is a square fit with this group. But that's going to be the question mark. This is an 8-year-old at that age, might need a start or 2 to get back into decent form. But again, I'll put Daneberry in the mix and hope this horse is in some decent form. You know, you go back to that middle of December workout, it was a bullet best of 97, which seems to indicate maybe the horse can come back ready to run. In the 8th at Aqueduct, 1, 7, 3, and 4. Race number 9 at Aqueduct this afternoon. I have it 3, 7, and 5 in a maiden special event. I put mandatory on top for John Kimmel. Kimmel's going pretty well. This meet down in Florida also going well over the past few weeks. This horse comes in, 3rd start of the career, off a layoff of better than a year. He just missed on January 3rd. Gets back to that effort or improves off of that effort. Mandatory becomes very dangerous. Johnny Pump was behind mandatory last time by, about a length and a half maybe or so. But that was a pretty good effort. And the buyer went backwards from the prior 2 efforts. Those were on turf, however. But I think with the return to dirt under the belt, Johnny Pump could move forward. And Clemenza, I guess for Godfather fans, only 3 starts in the career so far, but has certainly flashed some numbers that are going to make that horse very, very competitive in here. So for me, I said Johnny Pump in the 2nd spot, and I had notes in there. I've actually wound up putting Mystic Knight in the 2nd spot. I'm just looking ahead, cross things out and whatnot. And I read the numbers right, 3, 7, 6, and 2. I just had him next to the horse, as I say, differently. Mystic Knight was actually in the 2nd slot for me. A couple of starts in Keeneland so far. In Kentucky, one at Churchill, one at Keeneland for Chad Brown, Peter Brandt and company. And the number improved nicely, start 1 to start 2. Now comes back as a newly turned 4-year-old with only those 2 starts under the belt. So I took a little pop with Mystic Knight just underneath. So again, the numbers were right earlier. 3, 7, 6, and 2. All right, that takes a look at Aqueduct for today. And again, as always, if you didn't get a chance to write down the numbers, you can swing by the website, capitalotb.com. Click on the handicapper support link and pull up a nice printable sheet each and every day with the selections. And there are plenty of selections on there today. A little Gulfstream, some Tampa, some Aqueduct as well. So plenty of ideas for you to get hints from, hopefully. But we'll wrap it up for the Handicappers Report this Saturday morning. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we will switch gears into racing across America, and we'll continue to talk about some of the nice stakes action, particularly on the 3-year-old trail. We'll be joined a little bit by Ellis Starr from Equibase. He'll be taking a look at some of the stakes, including the Holy Bull and the Bob Lewis, and more. That's all coming up again in just a couple of minutes on Racing Across America. We'll wrap it up for the Handicappers Report. Hope you got some good ideas. Stay tuned and play those this afternoon, but stay tuned also. A couple of minutes. We'll be right back with Racing Across America. See you then.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.